What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage coming to you live out of Seattle. I am here for Renee Rodriguez Amplify event. I've got, Jeremy Forcier showing up in a few minutes. I've got Josh Meadow flying in, Kelly Zitlow flying in. I mean, it's going to be a host of Mortgage Coach rock stars. So keep an eye on social media for all the cool leadership stuff we're going to be doing today over the next couple of days. But today I have a special interview that I am super pumped to have. I've got Alfonso Esposito. Now, Alfonso, if I'm going from memory right, when I was at one of your sales rallies, you and I sat together on the bus, right, and talked?
Yeah.
It wasn't last year, but maybe the year before?
I think it was 2 years back, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And if you could just tell everybody a little bit about, where you live, your mortgage practice, and you had a transformational year. Not only did you have your best production year, but the way you upgraded your skills, it sounds like it was a real transformational year. So tell everybody a little bit about your practice and your production.
Yeah, so I've been in business now for this is my 18th year. In regards to production, I helped about 183 families for $60 million. Prior to 19, I was more of the CCW kind of guy, maybe a couple of emails with breakdowns, and just been watching your videos, which I absolutely love and adore, listening to you at our sales rally about how powerful mortgage coach is. And one of your biggest things you say is everybody deserves a mortgage coach. So in 2019, part of my business plan was to do that along with the mortgage annual reviews, because I just listened to your videos and I saw the success. That's kind of my transformation. My production increased this year about $13 million, 12 million, something like that.
Well, congratulations, not only for the improvement in production, but also just, it sounds like the level of service and value that you're giving to the families you serve has elevated. So if you could just walk us through what you've changed from a customer experience standpoint, and let's just walk through that, and I'll ask some questions around it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing was giving people being a mortgage planner. I think prior to 2017, I was just a loan officer, and I think I provided a great process and value minus a TCA. That was just my opinion. And I want to be your mortgage planner. So when people call me, I tell people, listen, anybody can pre-approve you, anybody can give you a rate, but not everybody can be a mortgage planner. And that I learned from you, honestly. I heard you say it. I've heard other, rock stars of the universe say. So my biggest goal this year was to be a mortgage planner, giving people options so they can make that best decision. So I think that was the biggest change in 19 for me.
Well, first of all, I don't want to take any credit for that, because it's the people I interview that are in the trenches doing it. And so let's walk through that, because you made that change, and you were a loan officer that closed over 100 loans a year. So you're busy. Mm-hmm. Walk us through the change. Like, what was your playbook to make the change, going from fee worksheet, rates, fees, closing costs, to every family's getting options, giving more transparency? So I think there could be a fear that it's more work, it takes longer. So walk us through your change process.
Well, that was my thing. I always thought it took longer until I did it, right? So ultimately, I just felt to be a modern originator, and I've heard it from you, I've heard it from others, I've heard it even, and I'm big on it, is that I need to be more digital. The biggest thing for me is in my neck of the woods, I want to be different. I want to pick up other lenders, but most people send CCWs or some sort or LE. I want to give them that digital experience. I want them to see the face. I want to connect with them just like we're connecting here. And it's just a game changer. A lot of people email me and say, wow, they're blown away. I guess some people have looked at my TCAs 40, 50 times in a month. The engagement from the consumer has been a game changer. And that's why I'm doing them. So in regards to time, I first thought these took about 30 minutes to build out, which I was obviously wrong. I have it down where my first 10 maybe took me 5 minutes to do. I'm down right now, and I'm really even putting 4 options in there. And I like to always do 3 minimally. I got it down to less than 3 minutes. So it
love
saves me a
that.
lot of time.
So one thing I heard is that you built the why. And I always tell people, when it comes to making the change, you've got to have a personal why.
Right.
And then it sounds like you did go through the pain of change. I mean, the first one was probably not easy. So walk us through that. You built the why, and then walk us through the pain of change. And do you have a team? Do you have an assistant or a production partner that's doing some of the work? Walk us through call it your workflow, and what you went through to make this change.
So workflow, to answer the first question, I do have a team. I have an assistant that works for me and a team loan officer. The team loan officer is more of helping me with my overflow. My team loan officer is a huge mortgage coach fan. So that motivated me a little bit when we joined forces last March. So it's been less than a year we've been together. My flow is I pretty much handle everything in regards to building these out. I like to be very involved. So my flow is take application. With our technology here at Prime Lending, we have a mortgage coach button. It automatically puts the information right into mortgage coach. Again, I go back to that commercial in the early 2000s, set it and forget it. With the chicken rotisserie, it's set it and forget it. Everybody should get a mortgage coach. There's no reason why they shouldn't. So I have implemented that on every pre-approval I do. So automatically I hit the mortgage coach button and I build it out. I'm very detail oriented, so I like doing it. But again, to answer the question, my team members help me when I'm on the road or if I just don't have enough time in my schedule because I want to get this out right away. So it's built in. I always tell people it's like brushing my teeth. Every morning I do it. So every morning my goal is when I put an analysis together, they're getting a mortgage coach link customized to them.
I love that. So coming into the year, Alfonso and his team had done about 5 TCAs in 2019. By the way, you're very close to becoming a black belt. When I looked on this call, you're like about 30 total cost analysis short of 300. So yep. You will be a black belt in mortgage advice soon. Nice. But here's the deal, guys. There's a lot of different ways of doing workflow. Like if you talk to Jeremy Forcier, who's a grandmaster that's done over 5,000, he's not as detailed with it, and he does a lot of them himself. But like Kelly Zitlow, I've interviewed her. She has her assistant. She uses the Optimal Blue integration like you do. Right. For anybody that's listening to this, if you work for a company that has Optimal Blue, we'd love to turn on that integration. And if you work for a company that hasn't turned on, it's a speed tip. Make sure you use it. Don't start Mortgage Coach in our advice engine if you have Optimal Blue. It's a super easy way to just go from product to pricing to presentation with Mortgage Coach.
Right.
So let's do this. Let's talk about some scripting. I think we got a script earlier, how you describe it to the family, but I want to get 2 scripts. How do you describe the total cost analysis to the family? And how do you describe the total cost analysis to the borrower, the borrower and the realtor? Right. And then we'll start talking about some other technology you're using to modernize your mortgage platform.
Yeah, sure. I mean, to the family, I use the word mortgage planning. I mean, I put a plan together. I tell my clients, and not to be, abrupt right up the first conversation I have with them, but anybody can do a pre-approval, truly, anybody. And most don't even do pre-approvals. They do pre-quals. I'm going to put a mortgage plan, a high-level strategy together that will give you options, right? I think one of your phrases is we need, in this time and age, of give people options. Anyone can quote a 30-year fix today at 3.65, but is that with MI, monthly MI? Is that with a buy down? There's all types of options. So the biggest thing I tell the customers, I want to be that mortgage professional that puts a plan together so you can make a educated decision. For my realtor partners, it's a game changer. I had one today call me right 15 minutes before this call. She's like, hey, I got the mortgage coach alert that my customer reviewed the mortgage coach. He's not sure what house he wants to make an offer on. I said, that's awesome, Tara. Do you like it? She's like, I love it. She's like, every time I get it, I love it. She's like, I actually called the customer to ask them what house they wanted to bid on. And it was a flood insurance option versus a non-flood insurance home. And they decided to go with the house that wasn't in flood insurance. And the reason why they did is payment. And I broke it all out. So I gave them 4 options, obviously 1 with flood, 1 with not, and then 2 other options. And the customer called my realtor, and not to brag, just said, I love Alfonso. I talked to a different lender first, but he educated me on what options I do have. So it's a game changer to the real estate community as well. Oh, God, I can't hear.
Sorry, my mute. I got caught up in unmuting myself.
That's okay.
So it sounds like the pitch is mortgage planning, options, AKA transparency.
Yep.
A little tip for everybody is here in the mortgage coach community. Our whole thing around why we do options, why we show the cost beyond just the cash to close, but hey, what's the cost over 5 years? And hey, what if you prepaid your mortgage? All of that is transparency, and that's value. And that creates trust. So let's talk about what other technologies are you using in addition to Mortgage Coach to power this, call it mortgage planning experience that you really mastered in 2019.
Yeah, so this year I actually did count because I was excited. I sent out 932 videos between my personal videos, and it's direct to the customer, and Mortgage Coach. Mortgage Coach accounted for like 260 of those videos. I want to humanize my business. I want people to know who I am, right? In 2001, when I got into business, a lot of people did come in. We shook hands. We took paper apps. They had to bring their docs or even fax their docs. Believe it or not, there's still fax machines. So I want to rehumanize it. So I thought video is a really good way to get people to know me, like me, and trust me. On top of the TCA, they already know who I am, right? So I send a video to pretty much everybody that I come in across at pre-qual, whatever you want to call it, pre-approval. I introduce myself to the realtor via video, the listing agent, it's my buyer agent. I also give a lot of updates through BombBomb to the consumer, the application process, commitment process, title process. So I really, really have been brought in BombBomb this year at the heaviest level I've ever seen. My year before I did like 300 videos, and it was great, and I got very comfortable with it. So right now I'm using BombBomb, and I use that via email, and I'm a really big person with the widget, texting it. And another shout out to you, the Mortgage Coach widget, awesome. Easy peasy, no excuse why not to use it. Same thing with the video. I tell people that want to know about video, no excuse not to use it. It's right on your phone. You click on it, the widget pops up, and you pop the video off to your realtor or client. So BombBomb has been a huge game changer, integrated with Mortgage Coach as well. Hey, Dave, I think you're muted if you can hear me.
That's a bummer. I had a really good thing going there, guys.
I can hear you now.
Okay, and can you see me too?
Yeah, I can see you. Yep.
Okay, hang on. By the way, guys, we will not be editing this. This is how I roll. It's always just a live experience. So, all right. So let me go back to that. So, guys, this is a value prop that I've said 100 times. And obviously, Alfonso has made this his. We recommend you make it yours. But some key things, go from transactional loan officer to, hey, I help you build wealth with real estate faster by making smarter mortgage decisions. Sounds like Alfonso, by giving you options. And then you heard that he's doing annual reviews. I'm going to help you manage that over time. Right. And just like we have a Mortgage Coach button in your pricing engine, a lot of the biggest CRMs in the country, go to our partners page, you can automate it so that literally every year you can automate an annual review with Mortgage Coach. Alex is a top loan officer. When you ask Alex, why does he use Mortgage Coach? He loves that it's options, but he loves that it's a platform where I can deliver rates, fees. I can put a video in if I want it. In the case of him, I think he's one of the top Latino loan officers in America. One year he was number one.
He was.
He loves what's that?
He was number one. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's number one to me. But guys, we're going to see Alfonso's in a second. Where you can put graphs, charts, your own branding. If you want to get into the details of closing costs, if you want to show pre-appraise strategies, it's a platform. And so Alfonso, if I would have interviewed you at the beginning of the year, you were a white belt fee worksheet loan officer. It sounds as though you became a yellow belt 20, sounds like by February you had really gone across that. Probably before mid-year, you were brown belt at 100 TCAs. And I just looking at how many TCAs you're creating a mortgage coach, within a month or two, you will be a black belt. Now, It's probably going to take a few years to, become a grandmaster, 1,000 total cost analysis.
Yeah.
But you will be there. I can't wait. So of these strategies, which ones do you do most often? If it's to be a black belt, you've done 300, and you know how to do all the different mortgage strategies. Which one of these do you do most often?
I mean, for me, the biggest one is, I've done them all, but really pre-approval options. I've looked at, a lot of seller buy down because I've watched a few of yours, and when the market was a little more stagnant last year, I did a ton of seller buy down, and I've done a few rent versus own. But if 70% of them are total cost analysis on different purchase price options and different strategies. So I would say a big portion is geared towards that particular customer's wants and needs.
Okay, cool. So let's pull up your screen. Let's go through a strategy, because I always like to, this is part of the mortgage strategy, mortgage coach series.
Yep.
So if you could pull up your screen and walk us through any scripting that you use when you walk a client through this, if you could add, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yep. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So this particular customer, reached out a few weeks ago. I updated it yesterday on the weekend, but this customer wasn't sure of his price point. He had a comfort level, and I always talk to people about that. It's just my particular way I do it. For me, there's what you qualify for, and there's what you want to afford, and I want to put that strategy together. So I do always ask people what their rough, do they have a monthly budget? Dave, I would tell you 9 out of 10 do not. So I help them establish that. So this one I did, he wanted to know what his max was. So for him, his max was 420, 400, and 380. Now, just so you know, this customer made an offer this morning, was accepted, and you can see that he actually bought higher than what I put together. So he purchased at $425,000. Each scenario, obviously, I try to do a very high level, like I said, just because I want the numbers to be accurate. But I do find out their tax bracket range of property taxes, mortgage insurance, and they look at this. This is important to them. What are the differences? Obviously, we have the closing cost tab. What are closing costs on each scenario? What's my cash to close? Forget the closing costs. What's my cash to close on each scenario? So I broke this out for them. This client's a 3% down buyer. Yeah.
And before you go off of this, how often do you use the reinvestment tab and show either a prepay strategy or an invest the difference strategy?
To be completely transparent, probably 10%, 15% of the time.
That's fine. So my only ask to everybody is, it's like, think of yourself as a golfer, and you got all these clubs. You don't use every club on every client. That's not good leadership. Sometimes you pull out the prepay strategy. Sometimes you pull that out. Sometimes you pull out the bomb video. Like as a modern mortgage professional, you just need to know how to tailor. So cool. So in your market, you're doing it 10 to 15% of the time. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just love this. I mean, it's all very easy. Obviously it'll break down all their estimated costs. In New Jersey, we do have some high taxes, so it scares people. But ultimately, it's very high level. It's very easy to understand. It's all right here. It can't really be any more clearer to me. So then, as you mentioned on the reinvestment, obviously, we're there too, based on monthly savings and the different properties that I built in here. What I love about this too, and you didn't ask me, but I could change it real time. Love that. If my client's on the road with, my realtor's on the road with my client, I'm available. I like to be available. I can change it real time. If they're at a property, literally sitting in the car waiting to preview it, I can change this within, on average, 1 minute. And then it bing goes right, live to, updating. So I really love that feature too, Dave, that I can change these really quickly, real time, and then obviously highlight items as I'm on the phone with the customer as well. So obviously I can unhighlight that and then re-highlight it, stuff like that. I really like that.
So this is important to note, guys. This is the difference between, you know, a fee worksheet, a PDF, or even a static web link to options. This is a platform. So you can stream a video, you can update it in real time, you can move it on your screen so that you are delivering the best borrower educational experience in the mortgage industry. And at the end of the day, our goal at Mortgage Coach is just to amplify your humanity and amplify your advice. So anything else you want to show on this before we kind of wrap up the interview and do a few more questions? Anything else?
I'd like to show one more thing, and I know most people that are users know this, but I've ran into this recently, you know, with non-millennials, let's just say, that there is a really cool option that comes out really nice where you could just print this and tell it what you want to say and then show it as a flyer. I mean, game changer. You can attach this to the email. Sorry about that. You could attach this to the email with the link to the TCA. I do name every one of my TCAs. I just don't send a link. I'll do family or, you know, your refinance options or payment options or purchase price options. But I watched one of your trainings, and everyone I'll name it, you know, the Savage family total cost analysis or the Esposito family total cost analysis. So I really like the print option because it's extremely easy on the eyes, and the colors and the grids, you know, again, most loan officers are not sending this, so I'm separating myself from the competition.
No, I love you brought that up. So I hope everybody give just little tips. He's naming it based off the family. He's saying this is your mortgage plan. So they're going to click on it. It's like, hey, I made this thing especially for you. And then let's face it, omni-channel is giving the family what they want, how they want it. When I interviewed Alex Barella, I remember he mentioned that, hey, some families are in my office and they're downloading the app and they love getting it on a mobile device. Yeah. Some families want to drive 30 minutes to get a piece of paper. So you want to give mortgage advice in the channel you want. That's why at Mortgage Coach, we've got an Android team, an iOS team. We put a lot of attention into what it looks like printed out. So while, you know, digital is the way most consumers consume this type of content now, it's not everybody. You got to give the consumer what they want, where they want it, how they want it. And so that's how we do it. So anything else you want to show on this before I ask you a few just sales leadership questions?
No, that's it.
So why don't you stop sharing your screen? Let's wrap this up. So if you got value from this interview, give it a like. You know, you're watching it in YouTube, give it a like below. If you're watching it in Facebook, give it a like. Let us know if you have questions. Put your questions down below. If there was something that was said that you thought was valuable and it's a note you want to remember, you know what? So does our community. Mortgage Coach content is here to help you make change, upgrade your skills. Just like Alfonso, a year ago, he was like, oh, Mortgage Coach is cool, but it takes too long and I do too much volume. But he tuned into the channel, you know, Netflix for mortgage professionals. And it's not because of me. It's like he heard Dan Keller. He heard Jeremy Forsythe. He heard other Mortgage Coach rock stars that are closing a lot of volume using Mortgage Coach. So let's wrap up with the time savings, you know, because that's the part where I think we lose a lot of people getting into this advice game is they think it takes longer and they're too busy. So just speak to the time savings of the total cost analysis and just the time savings of going from I'm a fee worksheet loan officer to I'm a total cost analysis loan officer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for me, if I had to do, and everybody wants more options, by the way, these days. Every client I'm having come out, you know, or reach out to me are looking for different price points, different down payment options. For me to create 4 separate cash to close worksheets, I have to go into my origination system, save the first one, print it, and save it, second, and so on. Before I'm done with that, it takes me, I don't know, let's just call it 10 to 15 minutes, maybe it's a little less. Then I have to highlight them because I want them to see what I want them to see and point that out. Then I have to attach them to an email, and then I have to type an email. That could actually take me triple the amount of time versus building the TCA real quickly. Right now I'm down to about 3 to 4 minutes, recording a quick video, either on my mobile app or right through the web browser and sending it out. I probably am saving on average 10 to 15 minutes per client. And like I said, I think I did really close to somewhere really over probably 300 quotes this year. So you add that all up, it's a time saver, but you just have to do it. You have to just put your time in, do a few, get comfortable with it. And you guys got great support. You know, Brian has helped me tremendously as well, where I got stuck a little bit. You got the chat feature, and within a few, I would say 5 to 10, I was able to really pump these out very quickly. So major, major time saver, in my opinion.
Love that. And yeah, I've interviewed countless black belt loan officers that close over 100, close over 200, close over 300 loans a year, and they would tell you for every 5 minutes in Mortgage Coach, it's saving them 30 minutes in the whole process. And
yeah,
part of that is just once you get good at it, and part of that is just having to repeat yourself. Or the father-in-law that's loading the down payment, he gets to hear it. Is that how you see it? Just a combination of over time and the implementation itself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like riding a bicycle. You're going to fall a few times, but once you get it, you know, then you want to go 20 miles an hour. So absolutely, you know, just do a few, get comfortable with it. I always, and you mentioned Dan and, you know, a couple other people, you know, I said, if they can do it, I can do it. Why can't I do it? You know, so, and it's working for them, it'll work for me. So absolutely, huge time saver, super easy once you get comfortable with it. I still believe my gut feeling is 5 to 7, you can start flying through them after that.
I love that. I love the bike analogy because I think that's true. It's first time you ride a bike, I mean, you crash. It hurts. It's not fun and easy, but you get to a certain point where it's fast, it's fun, and you never forget. So, all right, guys. So if you got value, give us a like, give us a comment. Alfonso, you rock. I look forward to seeing you at the upcoming sales rally.
Yeah.
And thanks for being a change agent. You know, you're not only helping grow Mortgage Coach with the company you work for, but you help to grow Mortgage Coach within, you know, the entire mortgage industry. So appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, super grateful for you. Thank you so much.
All right. This call is a wrap.